let's go over some Detroit Lions news for today's video. We're going to go over Kyle Allen's contract, what it means for the Lions. DJ Reed urged the Jets when he was over there to draft a player that the Lions have. He was sure correct on this one. The Lions re-signed a pass rusher. We'll get to that one. And areas of need for Detroit heading into the draft. Let's get started right now. If you're a fan of the Detroit Lions, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow this bad boy. We've been doing it for 6 years now. If you're one of those individuals not subscribed, hey, you can do it. Easy to do so. Let's jump into the latest Detroit Lions news. It's going to be an easy day for you folks. We're just going to go over some articles here with the latest information. And this one, Al-Quadin Muhammad, 1-year deal signed with the Detroit Lions, re-signed with the Detroit Lions. If you don't remember, Al-Quadin Muhammad came in, reserve player. I think it was from the Cincinnati Bengals. So they picked him up at, 3/4 of the way through the season, halfway through the season with the injuries. He actually did pretty good for the Lions. He got a couple sacks in there, big-bodied guy, and he produced for Detroit. I think this is a fine depth signing. Again, there's nothing wrong with building the depth. Quadin Muhammad, he has a chance. He's going to be up there at the 53, right? He's going to be close to making the 53-man roster. He'd be right in there. And he's an investment I'm fine with. I think this is a fine signing. I have no problem with this. They re-signed, again, Pat O'Connor as well. And they re-signed It's a good day for the defensive line. And that's fine. We still waiting for probably the draft to get a pass rusher, and maybe they potentially could get another veteran out there. We shall see, but happy that Muhammad is back in Detroit because he actually did something that was good. Here is basically, this article's on Pride of Detroit. Go ahead and check it out. It breaks it all down, but it's basically just going over, already read it, the backup contract to Kyle Allen, and what it says basically as it's a back-end boo-boo contract, and Hendon Hooker should still be the backup quarterback. You always got to chase the money, and the money came out. It's very inexpensive, incentive-laced, good chance he gets cut, right? Just off the numbers right now. Hendon Hooker, I've been saying it for a while, didn't make any sense for the Lions to get rid of him. The only way I could possibly see it if it was a big trade, right? You're talking about like a Trey Hendrickson type of thing, and they just shoo him in there. I didn't believe that was going to be the case, and it is not the case. And as of right now, Mike Valenti thinks that they'll take a draft day trade with pick 28, or pick 60, whatever, a draft day trade, in which is still possible. I'm not counting on it at all. But Hendon Hooker is the backup. Right? So in the comments, give me your thoughts on this one. Do you think anything different? Do you think Hendon Hooker gets traded? Whatever you want, your thoughts on this one. Yep, it's Lee signing Lions. This is a quick one. Mitchell Agude, we talked about that for the second week of free agency. I don't even think he probably makes the roster. He's back in, so it's a good day for him. Now let's get into Tim 20-man's 3 positions following the first wave of free agency, the needs. This is the Detroit Lions reporter, the senior writer for the Lions. This is a very much individual who's connected to the Detroit Lions. Basically, he's there all the time. It's Tim 20-man. He's the Lions guy, right? He's telling you what the needs are after free agency. I've already seen it, and I 110% agree with these needs, okay? So a lot of people has been getting mad at content creators, whether it be me or articles, that they don't need to get an edge or anything like that. Telling you that they do, and Tim 20-man agrees. Number 1, edge rusher. That is the number 1 need that he has after the 2 weeks of free agency that's been up. Yeah, it's a huge need. We do got the draft coming up, and that could be where they completely, they could go ahead and draft multiple defensive linemen in the draft. It's very possible that they could do that, whether it be an edge and an interior guy, someone that's 290 that could play both. We've seen the mantra of Brad Holmes. It's very possible he goes into the draft and annihilates that position, and I truly do hope so. We have been talking about the defensive line for years. I've been talking about it for years. I am ready for it to be completed and finished, and hopefully they get a lot of done in the draft to finish this up. Still would like another player who's a veteran. I would like to have another veteran presence on there. There's still some veterans out there. And also, too, we gotta keep it a buck. When teams cut down to 53, there's going to be players that are released. This is the roster right now. We don't start week 1 until September. So we're just grading it right now. We're just talking about it right now. What do you guys think? Do you think the edge rusher is a significant need? Why for yes and for no? I say 100%. Tim 20-man going with safety is the number 2 need. Now, I would actually switch this up, but with the number 3 need and the next one to be the number 2. But, we're cutting hair here. This is no big deal. He's correct. Safety is a need, right? You lost Ifutu Melifonwu in free agency. He goes to Miami. We need to get a backup safety. Now, we do got some individuals on the roster that I think, honestly, like Joseph and stuff like that, that is great, but you just don't want – we're an injury away from kind of being – the depth being low. I think they'll address the safety position in the draft. We got 7 draft picks. This is the spot to get a safety here. If they wanted to get another safety, a veteran, they could do that, right? They got the money to do that. I would expect if that was the case, you would wait later, maybe after the draft. Wait to see who's available, who you get. I could see a situation like that. But I agree, safety's a need, and I do think they get it in the draft. Guard, I would put this as the number 2 need right now. I would. Losing Zeitler was a big hit, and it's not just the Zeitler loss. It's the fact that I don't trust Graham Glasgow. That's who I'm worried about. He had an off year last year. He's a little bit older, and the Lions most definitely could go into the draft and draft a guard, even with the 28th pick. Very possible. Why is that? Because they love the trenches. And look, if there is an edge rusher that they don't believe, if they're sitting at 28 and the available edge rushers they have graded on our second-round draft picks, they're going to draft BPA. And it's probably going to be a guard. And we're going to talk about a guard here in a minute. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of fans would be mad. We take a guard at 28. I wouldn't be mad. We still got to get the pass rusher right. We got to get, we still got the draft. Guard is a need, and it could be addressed early. Just letting you know. The Detroit Lions are seeking a new rule change, and this one would correct the mistake from, it was 15 years ago, Seattle Seahawks, and last year at the Minnesota Vikings. The number 1 seed would be the best record, all of that stuff. And the rest, it would go down to wins and losses. So this is what it would have been if this was the new change for the wild card. Los Angeles at Philadelphia. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Los Angeles at Philadelphia, Tampa Bay at Minnesota, and Green Bay at Washington. This would have been the seeding if the rules would change to what the Lions are trying to do. Lions, Eagles, Vikings, Commanders, Packers, Bucks, Rams. And I'm going to tell you why I like this. And it's not what you think. The way that I see it as we look at divisions and rivalries, Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago. Okay, great, cool. We face these teams all the time. And it sucks if you get second place and you are getting screwed, right? I would rather just go with the best records, to be honest with you, because we we have rivalries now even though we don't face the Rams all the time every year, right? It's a massive rivalry with the Stafford and Goff trade. So, like, I don't know. I'm just looking at it. The rivalries it means a lot in the division, but there's developing new rivalries as well. And in my opinion, I don't really care about winning the division as much now, as more as just having home playoffs and all that type of stuff. So I kind of agree with the new rule change, or with the idea of this rule change, because I know a lot of people, they want the in-division stuff because of the rivals, right? You win the NFC North, you're the king. But I'm kind of over that. I'm more rivals, right? I'm not going to lie. Dallas, I can't stand Dallas. Can't stand the Rams. Those are teams that I literally can't stand. And so the rivalry stuff's a little bit less for me. But what do you guys think? Would you do the rule change or not? I know I'd probably be 50-50 on this one. I'm not going to be upset either way, right? DJ Reed urged the Jets to draft a Detroit Lions player named Brian Branch. And boy, DJ Reed was correct. He says, I'm a big fan of Brian Branch. When he was coming out of Alabama, I actually told Coach Robert Saleh, I was like, with the 17th pick, you got to get Brian Branch. This guy's a dog. Reed told Rodgers. And that's why Saleh's out of a job. And DJ Reed's in Detroit. Because boy, oh boy, was he correct on this one. Brian Branch was an amazing pick, and he fell to the second round. And thank God we got a steal. And I cannot wait for DJ Reed and Brian Branch to be on the same field. Two dogs fighting it out. I love that. This is true. We talked about the 28th pick. This player I've talked about it now multiple times, and it's possible the Lions draft Tyler Booker from where? Alabama. They do need an offensive line. They have not upgraded. Folks, look at what they did in free agency, or what they didn't do in free agency. And this is why I believe not only Tyler Booker he's legit on there at 28, right, from Alabama, offensive lineman. But Zeiler leaves, right? That's a downgrade in itself, right? That's pretty significant downgrade. We lose another lineman to free agency. They didn't bring back my guy A, right? And I thought he's a decent backup. He'd come in. So you lose in 2, and now what do? Now, look, they can draft a guard, too, in any round of the draft, but Tyler Booker is slated around that spot. If he falls there, he's one of the meanest and nastiest offensive linemen in football, or in college football. You could easily see him being a Detroit Lion with a 28th pick. And don't be mad if he does do that. A lot of people's pissed about Frank Ragnow. I know there's pissed people about Taylor Decker when they drafted him. I know people that didn't want Penei Sewell. I'm telling you right now, if they go this route, it just depends it depends what defender's there. If there is no defender there, don't just draft a player to draft a player, right? You could actually trade back, or you could just draft a player who's a certified stud. I think that would be great on this offensive line. I want edge bad, but we don't know how the draft is going to go. We don't know what teams is going to draft what players, and it is possible that we could have a lackluster or a graded pass rusher that has a second-round grade under Brad Holmes. And if he does, he's not going to draft a player in the first round if he's got a second-round grade, and we may not. So that's the latest Lions news. Give me your thoughts in the comments. With that said, adios.